Here we have the inside of the Swift Corniche 19/4. If we firstly come to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on just here by pressing the power button. Once we've pressed this, we will get an illumination here letting you know you're using the Caravan leisure battery. If you are hooked up to main supply, you will get an illumination just here to let you know. If I now press view levels, it will give us a condition of the leisure battery. If we were hitched up to the tow vehicle, it would also display the condition of that battery as well. This last button just here is for the water pump. So water pump on, water pump off. The water pump needs to be on so we can get water out of the taps or fill the boiler if it's been drained for either travel or winterization. If we now come to some controls just here, the top one is for hot water using gas. So if you are going to use this, firstly make sure that the gas bottle is turned on and the flue cover has been removed on the outside of the Caravan. Next, all we do is just flick this outer part down to the little picture of the flame. A green light will come on and the boiler will automatically light itself. If it fails to light, a red light will pop up in the window. This can also sometimes happen if there's a bit of air in the system, and if you think it is just down to that, you can basically just turn it off, turn it back on again, and it will then try again. On gas, you can heat your hot water to a very toasty 70 degrees or anywhere in between, right the way down to 30 degrees. Beneath it, we have heating on main supply. To use this, again, we have an outer dial and an inner dial. At the minute we're on off. If I flick it up, we can heat the fire up using 2 kilowatts. If I flick it down, we can use a low 500 watts or 1 kilowatt. This is just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on to try and stop yourselves from tripping. We can then control the temperature on the inner dial just here, and then it will convect out of the fire just here. This fire can also be used on gas, and if we're going to use it on that, all we need to do is just turn the dial just here and it will begin to tick. All we then do is just hold it down. Usually once you can't hear the ticking, it's a good indication it's lit. As soon as you let go, if you listen fairly carefully, you can usually hear it whoosh into life. If you're still not sure, you can peer for the pilot light in the little window just here. Regardless whether you are running this fire on main supply or gas, this dial just here controls the circulation fan, so you can blow warm air around the Caravan and it will then exit out of all the air ducts. All we need to do to use this is just flick it to the left, and then you can control the fan speed just here. A is not used in this particular Caravan, it stands for automatic, and you do have to have another thermostat fitted. If at any point you try to light the fire and you can't hear the ticking noise and it's not lighting, just check beneath the unit, as so just where my hand is here, there's a little AA battery just here that powers it. For hot water on main supply, we need to come to the bench seat just here. So if I now just remove the cushion, now this has been removed, it just makes it easier to see. So if we now just flap this down as well, you'll see the consumer unit just here. If we want the hot water on main supply, all we need to do is just press this one here that says water heater, and it will start heating the water up. Unlike on gas, this just has one temperature setting and will heat the hot water up to about 60 degrees. Do make sure that this is turned off when there is no water in the boiler, or otherwise you may burn the element out. Next we have space heater on and off. If this is not turned on, the control over here for the fire on electric will not work. So really this one can just stay pushed on all the time, and it will just then come into life when you plug into main supply. The same for the battery charger. You want to be able to charge the leisure battery when you're hooked up to main supply. So really, out of these three buttons just here, the only one that needs to be going on and off is the water heater. This last one here will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the caravan. You may find this on some continental sites. Over this side here we have full system shutdown, so if you're not planning on using the caravan for a long period of time, you can just press this button just here and it will then shut the caravan down and kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Beneath it we have the 12 volt fuses just here, so if something's not working on 12 volt, just come and check to see whether or not you've blown a fuse. They are numbered up and then correspond on the sticker just here. Beside it we then have the trip switches, so we have the 3 individual MCBs, the main RCD and test button just here, and again they correspond on the sticker just here. If we now lift up, we can also see underneath here the boiler itself just here. To drain the boiler down for travel or for winterization, all we need to do is make sure the water pump has been turned off and then flick this yellow lever up here and it will then commence dropping the water out. To refill it, flap it back over like so, fill up the aqua roll, drop the submersible in and then literally turn the water pump on and the water pump will begin filling it back up again. If you are going to be fully winterizing the caravan, I also suggest that once you've flapped that yellow lever up, that you then also move around the caravan and open up all the taps. This will then release any airlocks in the system and help it drain down. So when you're refilling the system, when it has been fully drained down for winter, you will need to open the taps up to force all the air out the system. Once they're running freely like it is now, you can then close it and then it will then fully reprime itself. The water pump itself is just located here, and then tucked right at the very back you can just see the little silver strip just here. Just beneath that are some more 12 volt fuses, and again they're all labelled up. They are mainly for bits and bobs that are on the outside of the caravan, like marker lights, indicators, etc. The 12 volt feed from the hitch electrics to the fridge. Here we just have the PIR sensor for the alarm, and the alarm box is just located just here. Underneath the opposite bench seat is just storage. All the lights in the caravan all switch on and off on individual switches. These two lights just here will only work when you are hooked up to main supply. We have the head unit in this overhead locker just here. It is a CD player, so CD in just here and eject just here. Where my finger is here, we have auxiliary connection as well for iPods. If we now press the source button just here, we can switch between the auxiliary AM, FM and CD if we had one in. Change tracks or search for radio stations just here. Volume control just here. We have a nice easy graphic equalizer just above. To turn the unit on and off, just hold the source button down just here. The fridge turns on and off just here. Currently it's set on main supply with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I now press this button just here, we can put it onto 12 volt maintain for when we're towing it. We're going to get an error code and a spanner and a blue flashing light at the moment because we're not hitched up. And then lastly, we can also run the fridge on gas. Again, like the boiler, this will just automatically light itself, and if it fails to light, again you will get an error code and the light will begin to flash. Temperature control just here. Next we have the microwave. Always advisable to remove the plate for travel. This will work again when you're hooked up to main supply and behaves like most microwaves. We have a quick start just here, stop just here. We can rotate for power setting, etc., and then we have the normal stuff, temperature, power setting, sorry, and then defrost. Beneath it we have the hob, so we have one electric hot plate just here, again works on main supply and turns on and off just here. The rest of the cooker is then gas, and it's just a matter of push in, twist and press the igniter. Beneath it we then have the grill. And the oven. Beneath the oven, storage. You will also find a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. Storage just here with the draining board. And you'll also find just tucked here a few gas isolation taps. All gas isolation taps around the van are colour coded and then correspond on here, and they will all be in the on position. They can quite frankly stay in that position. I always say if you smell gas in the caravan, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. TV bracket is hidden away, and it's just a matter of pushing the buttons in and then it will then drop down. You can then feed all the cables up there and then they just plug in at this point just here. The TV aerial itself is just located in the wardrobe. So we have the digital amplifier just here, on and off on the top. Control the boost on the little dial just here. The mast for the television aerial is just here. Just undo the collar and then raise the red dot represents the front of the aerial, so you know which way it's facing, and then lock it in to position. Never over tighten, because you can sometimes split these if it's been done up too tight. You can also, by turning the tail just here, flip it from the horizontal position to the vertical if additional tuning is required. Always make sure that the aerial is down for travel. Under the bed we have storage, but you will also find the freestanding table under here as well. This caravan also has an omnivent fan fitted, so to raise the roof vent, just wind here. Middle button then turns the unit on, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed just by pressing. To make sure that all roof vents are then down again for travel. If we now come to the washroom, we have the shower just here. And the basin and the toilet. To operate the toilet, slide the grey lever across, push the flush on the blue button just here, and then close. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. And level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying.